All right, guys, so we just got done with learning how to multiply polynomials. So now we're going to get into today something called factoring trinomials, okay? Guys, the easiest way that I can put this, factoring is the reverse of multiplying polynomials. Okay, when we multiply polynomials, right, we talked about distributing, we talked about the box method or the FOIL method if we had two binomials, okay? It gave us an answer, right? And we had to combine like terms and apply our properties of exponents, all right, and things like that, and we came up with a simplified answer. Factoring is we are going to start with a simplified answer, and you're actually going to work backwards, okay, to the question. I know that sounds kind of complicated. It's really not as difficult as it sounds. But when we factor, we unfoil or we undistribute, whatever the case may be. We're working in reverse. All right. And I'm going to give you all the strategies you need. Factoring is kind of like Jeopardy, guys. All right. You're going to be given the answer. Your job is to find the question. Okay. So let's get started. And number one, okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make what I like to call earmuffs. Okay, I know that's silly, but that's how I always remembered it, earmuffs. Whatever the variable is in the problem, that's what goes in the first spot of each set of earmuffs. So number two, you're also going to have an XX situation. In number three, you're going to have M and M. And in number four, you're going to have V and V. I'm kind of getting the easy parts out of the way. Now, from there, it gets a little more complicated. Now we're going to get into the math of this, okay? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the last number in each trinomial. If that last number is a positive, like it is in number one and like it is in number three, that means that your signs are the same. When the number is positive, that means your signs are the same. I'm not going to write that again for number three. Okay, now, doesn't mean that they're positive. It means they're the same. To determine what they are, we defer to the middle number. So in number one, we already know the signs are the same because of the positive. The middle number is positive, so that means I got a plus situation going on in number one. In number three, okay, I got a positive number at the end. So again, my signs are going to be the same. And then I defer to the middle number. If the middle number is negative, in this one I have a negative situation going on. Now, if you look at numbers 2 and 4, numbers 2 and 4 have a negative number at the end. That means that the signs are different. Okay, so when they're positive, they're the same. When they're negative, they're different. So you're going to have one being a positive, one being a negative. Same thing down there for number 4, one being a positive, one being a negative. It doesn't matter where you put it. You can go, you can put the minus first and the plus second. That doesn't matter. Okay. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to list out the factors of that last number. So in number 1, you're going to list out factors of 56. You're going to find pairs of numbers that multiply to make 56. 1 and 56, 2 and 28, 3 doesn't work. 4 will go in 14 times. 5 doesn't work. 6 doesn't work. 8 doesn't work. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. 8 does work. 8 and 7. Okay. Now, one thing you want to look out for, guys. First of all, you're going to have a calculator. You should have a calculator. Use that. Start with 1 and work your way up. Okay. Start with 1 and work your way up. Okay. As you work your way up, you're going to notice as you get bigger on this side, you're going to get smaller on this side. So the pairs of numbers are actually going to get closer to each other as you navigate your way through your pairs. Okay. Now, what you're looking for, guys, and you're going to see this is really easy. You're looking for the pair of numbers that add to make the number in the middle. You are looking for the pair of numbers that add to make the number in the middle. So you got your list over here. The pair of numbers that adds to make 15, that's the combination. So there you go, positive 8, positive 7. So your answer to that first question is x plus 8, x plus 7. Okay, I'll skip down to number 3 since that one also had a positive. I got a minus situation going on here. Okay, so both of the numbers are going to be negative. Okay, so I find the pairs of numbers that make 24, they both have to be negative. -1, -24, -2, -12, -3, -8, -4, -6. The pair of numbers that works is the pair of numbers that adds to make a -10, right? That -10 in the middle. There we go, -4 and -6. So my final answer there is m minus 4, m minus 6. Okay, now you could switch these around, guys. In number one, if you had x plus 8, x plus 7, I'm sorry, x plus 7, x plus 8, that would also be correct. In number three, if you had m minus 6, m minus 4, that would also be correct. Okay, number two. Okay, now I'm going to have different signs. Pay attention here. Since they got to be different signs, I'm going to have to double up on every combination because I don't know which number's which. Here's what I mean. A pair of numbers that multiplies to make 20 is 1 and 20. Just remember, one of those numbers has to be a negative. So one combination is -1 and 20. The other combination is -20 and 1. I don't know which one's negative. I'm trying to find the right combination. Then I got -2 and 10, -10 and 2, -4 and 5, -5 and 4. The combination of numbers that works is the combination of numbers that adds to make this middle number, which would be a -1. So you got to find the combination of numbers that adds to make -1. There it is down there. So the 5 has to be put with the negative. The 4 would have to be put with the positive. Again, you can switch that around. You can make it x minus 5, x plus 4 if you wanted to. Okay, you can't switch the signs though. Switching the signs is no good. Okay, last one. Number 4. I start listing out my pairs of numbers that make -70. I got -1 and 70, -70 and 1, -2 and 35, -35 and 2. 3 is not going to work. 4 is not going to work. Okay, 5 would go in 14 times, -5 and 14, -14 and 5. 6 isn't going to work, but I got 7, right? I got -7 and 10, and then I got -10 and 7. So those are all my combinations. Okay, as you work your way through your list, you notice how the numbers are getting closer to each other. That's how you know you got all your numbers. Okay, the only other pair of numbers I'd be able to fit here would be 8 and 9. Okay, 8 and 9 don't make 70. 8 and 9 make 72. All right, now, if you look at your list, all right, and I'm not going to go through each combination, you have to find the pair of numbers that add to make a -7. Go ahead and look and see if you find one. Okay, if you're looking at those numbers going and saying to yourself, none of them will add to make a -7, you're right. Okay, there is no pair of numbers that will add to make a -7. So this problem is not factorable. Okay, this is a problem that is not factorable. Okay, you cannot do this problem. You cannot find a pair of binomials that will multiply to make that trinomial. It's not factorable. Okay, it's not doable. Okay, so guys, at the end of the day here, to make this as simple as you possibly can, all right, when you're given a trinomial, okay, like these, this will only work when the leading coefficient is 1. Okay, when the leading coefficient is 1. What I mean by that, guys, is, if you look at your leading coefficients, you're not going to see a number. It's going to be an invisible 1. The trick here, guys, is to find two numbers, and I'm going to just do one more so I can show you this. Okay, let's say something like x squared plus 9x plus 18. I'm going to wrap this all up for you because I went the long way for those 4 problems, so I wanted to kind of teach you where this comes from. Okay, earmuffs, 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 x, x. The goal here, guys, is to find two numbers that multiply to the last number and add to the middle number. So I got to find numbers that multiply to 18 and add to make 9. That would be a +6 and a +3. Okay, so some of these are going to come to you really, really fast. Others, you might have to make a list, right? You might have to make that list of factors like we did up here, right? Like you see in number 4. You got that list. So as the numbers get bigger, you might have to make a list. But really, guys, Going down here, that last example I just did for you, that's ultimately what you're doing. Finding pairs of numbers that multiply to make the last term and add to make the middle term. And that's the key to these problems.